What's going on, everyone? My name is Jonathan. I am here with another podcast interview on The Jono Show, and I'm so excited to be joined today by Roberto Vigiluccis. Roberto, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to jump right into this interview. We are actually on location right now at one of Roberto's incredible Italian restaurants, and I've had the pleasure of dining here several different times. I'm excited to hear about your story and kind of get into how you got into the restaurant industry and, what fuels your passion for what you do here, and talk about your different restaurants that you own. And so, yeah, I'm excited. How did you initially get started in the restaurant industry? Because so many business owners, they say the restaurant industry is tough. It's a tough industry. The margins are small, all these different things. You've got to have some sort of passion for it. Where did you start?
First of all, thank you for this opportunity.
Of course.
Thank you so much. And I started, Vigiluccis has been open for 27 years now.
Okay.
January 7, 1994, that's when I opened my first location in Encinitas. And then I kept going after that. Opened quite a few restaurants after that. A total of 11. I don't have them anymore. I sold a few along the way. I started, 27 years Vigiluccis. Before that, I worked in the industry probably, 6-7 years.
Okay.
In my, early 18s and so forth. I came to the States, I was 21 years old. That's when I came to California.
And so where are you from?
I'm from Milano.
Okay,
Milano,
amazing. So,
Italy.
and you came when you said 18?
21.
Oh, 21.
21.
Okay.
Me, a bunch of other guys in our 20s spent a couple summers here in the 80s, 85, 86. And we loved it. We decided to come back to California, maybe stay 6 months to a year or something like that. Well, that didn't happen. The 6 months turned into a year, and a year turned into, I've been here 34 years now. So, so that's pretty much all my life now, most of my life. But yeah, I grew up in Milan, Italy. And so basically I started here doing whatever, washing dishes. But basically that's how I started. But one of my first jobs in the industry was as a dishwasher.
Okay.
From there, I moved into line cook, prep food.
Where was your first restaurant job?
The first restaurant job was actually here in Leucadia off of La Costa Boulevard, and the restaurant is not there anymore, of course. Now they're building a big resort. The Omni is big in putting the resort.
That's the one right on the bluff?
Right
okay.
on the bluff.
Yeah.
And it used to be the Harbor House.
Okay.
That was my probably first job as a dishwasher there, and the chef that at the time liked me, so he promoted me a month later from dishwashing to, salad prepping, whatever. So I, pretty much did every step from the back of the house to the front of the house.
Okay. So, and server as well. So for anyone listening not familiar with the restaurant industry, back of house, front of house. Back of house is, all the kitchen staff, the chefs, the prep teams. Front of house is your servers, your hostesses, your,
Bussing,
everything else. Bussing.
Yes. Yeah, I've done it all.
Okay. What did you like more?
Well, serving was fun.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm still a server.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Whatever it takes, when we're busy and I'm on the floor, I'm not ashamed of picking up plates or, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I guess probably when you own your own business, anybody that owns their own business probably does whatever it takes
Yeah.
to make it happen.
Well, I noticed you when we first met. You're there. You're talking with the guests. You're very involved with what each table is doing. It was obvious that you had a touch point and a real. You were involved. You were there. You were very active.
I like to be involved. Especially like I said, if I'm here, the last thing I want to do is be in the office and no, I like to be. This is the fun of the business.
Yeah.
Everything, especially these days, this business is getting tougher and tougher and tougher. The margins are, in the last year and a half or year or whatever, with the COVID and everything, it's been, challenging. It's an understatement, I would say. So, but I definitely love the, the fun part of the business, communicating with people. Whatever else is behind it, obviously you deal with it, but but I've always been a people person. I like to entertain, and so I treat this like if you were the guest in my house. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, and that's definitely the feeling we got. Even as you came over to our table and we started talking a little bit, you're just very welcoming, and I think that's amazing because after almost 3 decades in this industry, you still have that same excitement and that same attention and that same passion. Was there a point that you kind of realized, wow, I might want to open my own restaurant? Was that kind of maybe the dream in the beginning? How did that start?
Definitely. When I came to the States at 21, obviously, 21 years old, you're a kid. So I started, dishwashing and stuff like that. My family, my direct family, my mother and father, they are not in the restaurant business. They were in the electronic business. So for a few years, while I was washing dishes and doing whatever else here as a steady job, I also helped them out to doing an exporting of electronic goods. For 4 years, I developed a business from the States to Italy for what they were dealing with, mostly Panasonic, that was their brand, and other electronics. That kept me busy here also for the first 4 years, besides working in the restaurant industry. Well, then 4 years later, that ended it kind of. So the exporting goods from here ended. So basically, I had a choice: either go back to Italy and work in a family business, or continue my career in the restaurant. And at the time, I was working probably as a server at the time, so I was making decent money, So I told my parents, I like it here. Let me figure it out. And I got kind of lucky. I worked in a small little restaurant in Encinitas. That's where I opened my original one. And believe it or not, it was a Thai restaurant. So Thai food. I didn't know anything about Thai food for the most part. But I was working in an Italian restaurant in La Jolla, very popular at the time. And but I lived in Encinitas, and most of my 35 years, whatever I've been here, mostly Encinitas and Carlsbad now for the last 25. One afternoon I was walking down the street and I saw this small little Thai place opening up, or have a help wanted sign on the window. And so I asked if they were looking for somebody, and this lady, Thai lady, didn't speak a lot of English. We're looking for somebody, for the front of the house. So I told her, I said, I'm working in La Jolla in a restaurant, but, I'm interested maybe, at night, this industry, you work lunch, maybe one place, dinner in another, whatever. And so I got hired. I quit my Italian restaurant job in La Jolla because this little Thai place was busy from the get-go. It was down the street from my house. And she gave me, basically, she was the chef at the back of the house, and I was the front man. I had one guy helping with me during the week, and a couple other guys on the weekend. So I was I was there 6 days a week, lunch and dinner. But it was not mine, but
it was
I was there all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what happened? That's why I say lucky, but obviously hard work, because I was my early 20s. When you want to have fun, and you work 6 days a week, lunch and dinner, so your bodies are
partying, having a good time.
Yeah, I played after 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
But I was there for 4 years at this Thai place, and the place was very busy. So imagine, I built myself a huge clientele. I know everybody in North County, and everybody knew me because they were kind of like, wait a second, Robbie from Milano, working in Encinitas in a Thai place.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yes.
So it was kind of funny in a way.
That's cool.
And but definitely I built myself a huge clientele. And what happened is that literally 3 doors down, there was a Vietnamese restaurant in the corner of D Street and the 101, right across from 7-Eleven in Encinitas. Mom and Pop owned the place, older couple. They didn't want to do it anymore. Their kids didn't want to do it anymore. And I was ready to move on. After 4 years with Thai, she didn't want to open any other restaurants. I was kind of interested. I said, if we open another location, maybe we can do whatever. She wasn't interested. And so it was time for me to move on. You know, either do something, you know, on my own.
Yeah.
And 3 doors down, this little Vietnamese place was I heard it was, you know, maybe for sale, because this older couple, they want to kind of get out of the business. So I talked to them one afternoon. I went there and I introduced myself. I told them, you know, they knew me because obviously being 3 doors down, you know, not competing because it was Vietnamese and the other was Thai, but, you know, similar cuisine or whatever. So I talked to them and make the long story short, I bought them out.
Okay.
I bought them out. I closed the place down. And with a friend of mine, we kind of did everything we could back in the days. You know, I didn't have a lot of money, obviously.
I was going to say, how did you get the money to do that? Because
well, I saved it from my mom, from the electronics import-export. We developed the business that they had in Milan was a fairly large business. When I came here, and they were coming to visit the first year or so, my stepfather, my father, really, because I feel he's my father. Very savvy business guy, noticed that there was probably some opportunity of bringing merchandise from the States back to Italy, parallel to what he was already doing in Italy. So he basically told me, find me A, B, C, D. So I started traveling the States a bit. And actually the biggest company, not a big company, but a small company, but the one we did most of the business was right here in San Diego. Okay. So I found company in LA, Florida, New York, but end up somebody in San Diego was our biggest supplier. Okay. On the Panasonic side.
Okay, got it.
Back in those days was answering machines, cordless. There was no cell phone yet. So mostly it was fax. So we exported a lot of those units from here to Italy.
So then we go from here.
From here.
Okay, and
container full of goods.
Okay.
Mostly, like I said, electronic goods.
Makes
so,
sense.
you know, I had my nice little commission cut out of this
import-export,
import-export business. And so I saved some money. Plus, I was working as a server.
Yes.
So, this was prior of the Thai place.
Okay.
When I was in the Thai restaurant for 4 years, I was pretty much done with that. That's when I started getting even more involved in the restaurant business, because that business from my parents was not available anymore. Yeah. I could have been available if I would have gone back to Italy and worked for the company, but not the exporting division part. And so I saved some money there, definitely. Those probably we lasted 4 or 5 years, the exporting. Plus I was working in a restaurant. Then after that, 4 years in a Thai place, single. Didn't have a lot of expenses, you know. And that Thai place, I'll tell you, I was working there 4 days a week. 6 days a week, lunch and dinner, and I was pretty much the only guy, the busboy helping me at the time. And the place was busy. Yeah. So, you know, tips, you can
they pile up quick, especially.
Pile up.
It sounds like you were kind of building a little bit of a brand too, a personal brand, because people were coming to see you kind of as like this Italian guy in this Thai place, whatever. Well, I want to ask a question, because I feel like this is such a remarkable story. There are so many people I've heard, younger folks, high school, college, especially in this environment, who maybe complain or maybe say, you know, it's very tough to find a job. It's very tough to find, you know, opportunities. Maybe say it was a lot easier for the parents to build the opportunities, but now, you know, it's a lot harder. And there are people who complain. You here are coming from Italy. Did you speak English at the time?
No.
Okay, so you didn't speak a little bit, enough to kind of...
High school type, you know. Very basic.
Basic, you know.
Enough to, you know, maybe meet a girl.
Where's the bathroom? Yeah, exactly. Meet a girl. I like that. You come here and you're working double jobs, 2 jobs at least, right?
Oh yeah.
You're working tons of hours. How many hours do you think you're working at any given point?
50, 60 a week.
Yeah, and this is when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
So many people are just wanting to enjoy their 20s, you know, go out, go to the beach, you know, and you said, you know, you were having your fun after 10 o'clock.
That was the you know, from, you know, restaurant closes around, you know, whatever, back in those days. Luckily, you know, North County closed early. Yeah. You know, it's not like Milan or New York City to where, you know, at 1 a.m. you're still, you know, out in a restaurant, you know, 9, 10 o'clock, game over. So So yeah, that's what I did.
So you just had a crazy work ethic. Having employees, do you look down? I don't want to say look down, but maybe do you feel critical with the work ethic that you see in some of the younger people that you've hired in your experience?
Well, definitely, 27 years in the making, I've seen it all. Well, I don't know if I've seen it all yet, but I've seen a few.
Yeah.
People that, employees that you wouldn't expect that they did what they did. But I tell you what, for the most part, I have amazing employees. I have employees, believe it or not, 2 of them still, no, 3. They've been with me since the beginning.
Wow.
7 years.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And the rest, you're talking 15, 17, 20 years.
Okay.
I got guys for, 2 decades, easy.
Can we talk about that a little bit? Because I'm curious. I think I also hear business owners saying, you can't find good people. It's so hard to find. So how do you?
Well, I think, I always believed in taking care of your employees. You have to. And they will take care of you.
Yeah.
For the most part. Of course, you're always going to find, probably a bad apple, but I always felt that, pay them a little extra, obviously, because in the end of the day, everybody's got, family and they, and especially, the last year and a half with, this hard time. And, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But, so I, definitely pay them well.
Yeah.
And maybe go out the extra mile, besides, the pay rate, make sure that, you remember maybe little things, their birthday or, I don't know, stuff like that. Getting a bonus out at Christmas time, especially now, we always do it, but, try to keep them happy.
What do you look for in an interview? When you're maybe need to bring on some new person in any of your experience, how would you?
Well, right now, things have changed.
Maybe not so much.
It developed to where now I don't do Alessandro. Alessandro is my general manager,
okay.
And actually he's a childhood friend.
Okay.
He came to the States year and a half after I came because I was here.
Yeah, that's so cool.
He made his career at another restaurant, Il Fornaio. I'm sure you know about it. And while I was opening my own, but 16, 17 years ago, he was done with Il Fornaio. And so he came on board for me. And so from there on, things has changed.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, probably when he came on board, I had 4 or 5 restaurants. And then we opened more and more and more because I had, a team were able to do more restaurants. And so he's been the one doing mostly of the hiring of the people in the last, say, 10, 15 years.
Okay.
Like I said, because the structure has changed a little bit. But what I'm looking for, of course, I think there is a couple of things that, that is not turning or looking back or second chance. If you steal, you gotta go.
Yeah.
It's simple as that. It doesn't matter. I always tell my guys, bartender or whatever, just ask.
Yeah.
Because if you tell me, hey, can I take a bottle of wine?
Yeah.
I give it to you.
Yeah.
Or a cocktail.
Yes.
And we had issue to where we had terminated some nice guy that they were us for a long time, but because they did some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, why do you do that?
Why'd you do that? Yeah.
Why you do that? You should know better. You
Yeah.
know, why do you want to take a bottle of tequila?
Yeah.
Just ask.
Yeah.
So, but I feel that that's kind of, what do? You can't really,
It's hard to come back for some of those things.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a little bit, so, there is that integrity definitely, it's important. And, this business, you got to keep your eyes open.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because anything can go out of that back door.
Yep.
You're talking cases of filet mignons or,
Yes.
or cases of wine.
Cases of wine, yep.
So, that's why, it's a tough business in that sense. Some people don't realize it, believe me. In my last 27 years, I opened 10 or 11 restaurants, and I sold 7 of them while they were, up on top, and you sold the business, not the name, just sold the business. And a couple of them, more than a couple of actually, they didn't last more than 6 months.
Wow.
Because some of these guys that they bought them, rich fella, but never been in the restaurant business, and they thought,
it's a good investment. I'll put
I
some
can
money.
do this,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? but then they pick the wrong people to run it, and you know how it is. If you don't know the business, you know, it's easy to go under quick.
I was gonna ask, so you went from one restaurant, taking over from the Vietnamese restaurant, smaller place sounds like, to going to 11. So in what time period did that happen?
I opened first one in 94. 94, January 94. I opened a second location in Cardiff a year and a half later or so, 2 years later. I opened down on State Street, which we still have it, the Vigiluccis Cucina on State Street.
Which, by the way,
I should have brought all the dates with me.
At what point did you start selling them? Because you said you kind of got to a point where you hit 11. Was it like, these are doing great, it's time to sell them? Did you think about you want to start exiting?
I never thought about, you know, selling it just, oh, that's a good time, just let's sell it. It was opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, couple of them, like I said, you know, I had a couple guys knocking on my door. One in Cardiff, example, to where this gentleman was there quite often. You know, pretty wealthy guy from Rancho Santa Fe, and he was having all his parties there. He used to cater all his events at his mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, and he was there quite often. And every time he was there, he's like, I gotta sell me this restaurant. I love this place. Blah, 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 blah. And one day I said, hey, just make me an offer that, you know, I'm not gonna think about it. And he did. So I'm like, here's the keys. And that was the first one, but I didn't want to sell it. It's not like
it was up for sale or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so people ask me, all the time, are you ever gonna sell this? No, but yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Make me an offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with down in Coronado 4 years ago. Beautiful spot, stunning. Probably one of my nicest. Because, you know, also, obviously from the first one to where my budget was a little more limited to, you know, Coronado example, that was my last one that we opened, I believe in 2008, 2010, so yeah. Obviously, I've learned a lot. So I learned how to, you know, different table, different marble, different chandelier, different, you know. And that's the last one I sold a few years ago, and this gentleman again, he's got several restaurants in San Diego and doing very well. And he owns a few restaurants in Coronado. And again, he asked me a couple of times to sell it. I told him no. We were doing really well down there, next to the Dell, beautiful spot. And then again, he came, and I thought, you know what? So we talked, he made me a good offer. I got out. I tell you what, in a way, I've got lucky. Because I got out, I don't know if you remember 2008 when the market crashed.
Yeah.
So that was tough. I had probably 7, 8 restaurants open at the time. That was, I don't even know how we were able to survive that, you know, because business went down quite a bit. And the more location you have, obviously, you know, and I'm sole operator. It's not like a big company behind it with lots of money.
I was going to ask you about that. How did you go from kind of going to these other restaurants? Did you wait till you had kind of enough cash flow coming in from the other restaurants to support, or did you go take on equity partners? Or
No partners. No, partners. No. Just me. Yeah, exactly. With the cash flow from these other restaurants, you know, and along the, you know, I got also some. Was able to buy some of the properties. That, you know, the restaurant that I have, the one I didn't sell. Yeah. They are sitting on my property. So that's a good thing, obviously, and those are the ones that probably I will never sell. Not never, but you might sell the business one day, keep the property, collect rent. You know, obviously, I'm not getting any younger, so we'll see. And so that's what happened with you know. That's why I sold some of the businesses, not because they all did well for the most part. Some better than others, of course. You know, here we're sitting at Vigiluccis Seafood and Steakhouse, overlooking the ocean, even though today is not the most beautiful day. You know, with this location, you know, there is not that much in Carlsbad or, you know,
North County area, certainly,
County area with this type of view.
I was going to ask, how much do you think is a restaurant success based on the location? Because obviously, like you said, this,
Like
I mean,
I
we're
say, location.
okay. So it's like that in real estate, the same idea.
Of course,
Okay.
definitely. Location is, it's a key because it is. So, but definitely, I'm also proud of what we put on the table.
Yeah.
I think we have amazing food and amazing service.
Well, I wanted to ask about that because the food, every time we've been here several times now, a couple different locations, my wife and I, and every single time we've had amazing service and amazing food. Everything we've tried has just been knocking.
For the most part, I love food, and
Same here.
yeah, and so to me, it's not even a question of choosing the best product possible that I can to tell my chef to buy. I'm gonna charge you for it because quality costs. So if a shrimp of that quality costs $3, I'll have to charge $7 for it.
Yeah.
It's not, you get what you pay for. There is
Absolutely.
nothing to it. I go other places, other restaurants, or even markets, grocery stores. So you know how it is. Everything that is beef, and beef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Or veggies,
The seafood, different
of course,
levels
there is
of
different
absolutely.
levels. So it depends what you want to use. I always wanted to use top quality, and obviously price comes with it, and it paid off. People, I'm amazed, even throughout the 2008 when the market, and now with the COVID, we have amazing clientele, and we're busy, and my place are not inexpensive.
Yeah.
And still, I think people see the value because when you come and you pay whatever $50 for a filet mignon, but you're super happy. To me, that's the thing.
Yeah.
If I pay $50 and I'm happy, or I pay 35 and it's then I remember $35 for that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
$15 difference, but for the experience, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's important. My chefs are amazing. They understand they know my concept. They understand my concept, and that comes with the service as well and everything else. That's why, we need to have people that they understand what they're selling. So, sometimes I have young kids come in and bring me a resume, and they have very little experience and they think, oh, well, I can be a server. There is servers and servers, because it depends what you're selling. If you're selling a $500 bottle of Ornellaia, well, you gotta know maybe a little bit of what that wine is made, where it comes from, blah, 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 blah,
It's
blah.
a red wine.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah.
This is a Cabernet? Or is it yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. So, and I have amazing staff and professional servers that they do this for a living. A lot of them, that's their job. That's their job. It's not like,
Have you seen that trend in people really taking the serving career
definitely.
as a profession? Has that changed over the years you've been in business? Just what you see?
I think so, definitely. I think so. Like I said, especially also the type, maybe my restaurants are. Not that I don't have anybody that is doing something else, going for a career of medical or whatever. I have guys like that. But I do have quite a few that this is what they do for a living. Obviously, especially management part or the chef, of course. That's what they do. But like I said, even servers that, and with also what I'm proud of it, and I'm proud of my team, that we, for the most part, we promote within. That's how I did it. So I believe that, if you start here as a busboy, I have busboys that they are now, in assistant managers. So, because, they show big potential.
Yeah.
So they started with me, maybe they were, 20, now they're in their 30s, and they are, mature men that, they love the business, and, we promoted them.
Yeah.
So
That's encouraging, I'm sure, for other servers who are in the mix also, who maybe want to see it more of a career or want to see some progression,
For sure.
that they see other people working hard and then that getting rewarded.
No, for sure. And I think that's, I like that. And the same with the kitchen, actually, even probably more with the kitchen, because, you cannot be a dishwasher forever if you're good.
Yeah.
If you're smart and you're good, from there, it's just the door to get into, next step, going to pantry. Pantry is where you make salads and appetizers, stuff like that. And then, from there, maybe start going with the chef on the line and start, cooking, saute, grilling, stuff like that. So we've been promoting a lot from that.
I have a question about that. What is your opinion on culinary school?
I bet definitely, I'm sure I didn't go to culinary, but I would think it's important.
Do you, when you look at a resume and you see culinary school on there, does that for you hold weight, or do you like to see more experience in a restaurant, maybe someone who worked out?
Well, depends. If you're just coming out of school, you know that it's not going to be, again, depends probably if you're a chef. Depends on what kind of level of culinary school probably you also went and did or whatever. But you definitely don't have the experience of the field. So, the resume is great, and we look at resume because that's the first thing you do. But then you gotta see him on the floor. You gotta see it. Okay, here is the knife. Show me. And then you can tell, if this guy back to the house or front of the house, they've been around the block, or they're like, boom. You can tell. Open the bottle of wine. You can tell.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can tell.
A comfortability.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially, we just hired a bartender a couple of days ago. Usually we do a week or 10 days of training. 2 days.
Yeah, you saw.
It's like she doesn't need no training. I already knew she's coming from another restaurant friend of mine, so she was there, for many years. So I kind of already knew where she was coming from. But again, there is why waste the time to train somebody like that for 2 weeks when
they're already there most of the way there.
They're already there, and so as long as they learn your menus and your and then but
do you consider yourself, would this be considered fine dining?
I would say so.
Yeah.
All three.
Yeah.
All three.
Being your kind of mantra on service that we talked about, and just kind of how you feel like, we talked about the $35 steak versus the $50 steak, and just kind of the differences in what you pay for. What do you think about restaurants like Buca di Beppo or a Macaroni Grill, like a chain restaurant that's trying to give that same feel, but is maybe on the lower quality side of things just because of the corporate atmosphere?
That's definitely, they are on the lower, but there is a budget for everybody, so I know not everybody can afford. And when we say $50 steak, we have $170 steaks.
Yeah.
So and that's what I was amazed. I was telling you earlier, even though through this tough time, what I see, especially even a younger clientele, that they buy seafood tower and tomahawk steaks for $170 a steak. Buca di Beppo, these restaurants, hey, you get what it's okay. I think, especially, those restaurants, they maybe do a little better in areas to where maybe there is also a different,
like demographic maybe with,
demographic, I wouldn't go personally, I remember, a couple of years ago, my sister-in-law lives in Iowa, now she moved, but they live in Iowa, and Applebee's is probably, their top. And I was like, wow. You know what I mean? But that's what they get. So, so I'm assuming you open a little restaurant there and you do decent food, you'll probably be very busy.
Yeah.
So
you say Applebee's. So that was my first job also. As a busboy.
But there is nothing wrong with Applebee's. I'm just saying,
Oh, I thought that was good steak back then, and then of course they start getting a little bit more experience in eating and everything, and then you realize, wow, that is really kind of.
But again, sometimes
2 for $20 menu.
Yeah. But when we go places and we maybe end up going there for the drinks or places like that, I'm a little careful of what I order, so I know probably order a burger or you order what you think maybe in a place like that, some chicken wings. Or, you know what I'm saying? It's, I don't know.
How do you think about tipping? Because we're talking about this whole service element, and you get what you pay for. There's been this whole movement towards either doing no tipping or having gratuity included, putting, the automatic 18% for the parties of, X amount or over. How do you think about that?
It used to be like that, to where now you can't add tips to the parties unless it's a private event or stuff like that. Which, for the most part, we are lucky because my clientele is mostly locals or mostly we don't deal with a lot of tourism. Maybe other places do, and maybe some server they get burned because maybe the European or other people don't tips as much. It happened.
Well, and coming from Italy, do you kind of
tip.
Okay, yeah. So do you see both sides
you
of
tip,
the?
But you don't. When I go back to Milan, I go back to Italy 2 or 3 times a year, and I go out with my buddies in restaurants, and you tip $10, $20. Doesn't matter if the check,
Percentage.
$400 check, and you leave $20. You see, it's not. No, tipping is not, which is wrong. It's not wrong. It's just the way it is. But tipping, I think, it's a beauty. It makes
Incentivizes the service.
Yeah.
So do you think it's then not fair when some restaurants will put an automatic gratuity on there without the service even being rendered yet? Like the server then knows that there's going to be
I don't think it should be a automatic gratuity on it, because that's up to you, really.
Yeah.
If I put an automatic gratuity and you're not happy with your service, it's extra. It's you. I think the client should do whatever they feel that is right, and automatic gratuity, I don't think, used to be that at party of 6 or more you do it, and again, I think if we still had that opportunity, it would be nice, because sometimes you have groups that they maybe are out of country and they don't know. Now you have a big $1,000 check, and the server, which is still gonna pay the taxes on it, or the tips on the taxes, because no matter if they get tipped or not, they will have to declare like they got tipped.
Yeah, they assume what, 12%, 10%?
Yeah, it's 15%.
15, wow.
But 8% is what you supposed to declare.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you get,
they're going to
nothing,
assume that. Yeah.
If you get nothing, but it doesn't happen too often. Let's be frank. I have servers. I see what they're making, and they walk out pretty much. I had a young lady, one of my servers, a couple of days ago. She got tipped. It was was a lot of check, and they left her $5 or something like that.
Wow.
It happened, but not that often. I think for the most part, and actually, especially the last year or so since this COVID, people are being very generous. I've seen $200 tips on $100 checks.
Wow.
I have seen some crazy stuff.
That's
But more
amazing.
is not a tip. I think it's more like a, people that they can do it. It's like saying, I don't know, donation, call it whatever.
Yeah, a thank you, just to kind of, yeah. So, let's talk about COVID a little bit, because this has been such a crazy time in the last year for so many different industries. Obviously, hospitality has gotten hit. My industry with doing wedding and event catering staffing and wedding and event venues and all of that. We, in a matter of 6 weeks or something, lost close to $600,000 of potential revenue. And there's so many businesses that have a similar experience. They've lost so much revenue. At the same time, so many businesses have been able to stay open. And in a lot of counties, certainly states, there's been, I think, different treatments, right?
Definitely.
All across all the country. How do you think about that? There's been this definition of like what an essential business is or not. Talk to me a little bit about that. Kind of what's your mindset on it?
My mindset is that it's wrong that we were shut down, especially my industry, or hair salon, or our hospitality. Just now, the last shutdown, a year ago when they did the first shutdown, was still, nobody knew exactly what was going on. It was a little, this is the second one right now, the last 8 weeks or so. I think it's crazy that all the restaurants shut down, but then you can go to this big box store and they're packed to the rim.
Yeah.
And or
the Costco's, the Walmarts, any of them.
And there is not really social distancing there either. And everybody touches everything. I was at Bonds a couple of weeks ago, and this lady's looking at her perfect apple to see which one she wants, which is great.
Yeah.
You gotta look at your But I mean, she's touching everything.
Yeah, and putting it right back.
And putting it right back.
Yeah.
To where you're sitting at a table, where it's being cleaned, fresh tablecloth, sprayed, whatever.
Disinfected
plastic,
silverware.
6 feet apart. So what is the danger here compared to, if you are sitting next to somebody on an airplane, per se. So, no, I don't think it's right. I think it was wrong. A lot of restaurants went out. A lot of restaurants are not going to come back. And, we thank God that now, they reopen at least the outdoor. Some other states, they never.
No.
I know Florida is open.
Yep.
Texas, some other states, they've been staying open. And, as you know, there was a little movement here in Carlsbad that some restaurants stayed open through the. So and
Encinitas also, I know
Encinitas, but not only Temecula, a lot of Orange County, a lot, and we were part of it. We stayed open for outdoor and stuff like that.
Have you gotten flack from that? Because obviously,
no, we got sure we had but authority, health department but they they told us but nothing really ever happened in that terms. We follow protocol like we were supposed to.
Well, like you said, I feel like that's absolutely the case. You're a conscientious business owner who's going the extra step to make sure that things are safe. And you have a big box retailer perhaps that sure, they'll put the dot on the ground to say stand here for 6 feet apart, but there's no enforcement of that. And in a restaurant, yes, you're right. The table that you're dining with are either close friends that you're going to be talking to anyway, and family members. Yeah.
And, I mean, there was never science that the spread of COVID was,
because
in
of
a restaurant compared to, traveling or other places. So. I don't know. I feel bad because I hear a lot of people, friends, and they will never recover. They're out. Maybe we got lucky because we've been in business for so long. But I'll tell you what. That we go back to earlier when we were talking about restaurants selling this, that. If I had 8 or 9 restaurants now, I would probably close some because there is no way unless you are a multi-million-dollar corporation that is available to keep 7, 8, 10 locations closed for
6 months, 9 months, whatever.
And then even when you're open, you're limited capacity, outdoor only. And then again, luckily because we are in Southern California. But I was talking to friends of mine in the desert during the July and August. Says outdoor only, outdoor, but over there was 120 degrees. And now vice versa. I have friends in the mountain in Big Bear, and they're like, outdoor is tough here.
Yes, 6 inches of snow on the ground.
So, it's been challenging. Luckily we are in a good spot here to where the weather, and this winter has been fantastic. It's been pretty dry, so we are able to sit outside. And so we're lucky. We're lucky. It's been a tough year.
Absolutely.
Very tough. And we'll see. Hopefully, it's gonna get better.
I definitely think it's encouraging that there is a movement towards reopening, and they've reopened the outdoor dining and some of the different things. But I love the business that you've built. There's so much that we didn't touch on, obviously, but I really appreciate you just taking the time to talk with me, share your story and your journey, and it's been really, really cool. For anyone out there who's listening or locally in the area who wants to come visit you, wants to come to any of your restaurants, where can they find information about you?
Vigiluccis.com.
Okay.
There is 3 locations. Vigiluccis Seafood and Steakhouse here in Carlsbad, Vigiluccis Trattoria, which is the original in Leucadia, and Vigiluccis Cucina down on State Street in Carlsbad in the village. But Vigiluccis.com, we do catering. We used to do catering. Now, but it will come back. The
Leucadia location, I think. I love this location just because, you're right here at the beach. But the Leucadia location, there's that whole back area that I was not aware of. And it's so intimate.
It is.
But-
You know, that's an old house from the 50s.
Okay.
That, you know, probably back in the days there was a house.
Yeah.
And then they built this building in the front. That's where the main restaurant is. I used to be a car dealer back in the days, I don't know. But that's where the main restaurant. But yeah, that's an old cottage that when I purchased that property, was actually a house. I had a tenant living in there. Then when he moved out, I decided not to re-rent it, and I converted it into private dining room. Not only private, can be private dining room, but they're basically the old kitchen, the old living room, the whole.
It's so cool. And
it's cool.
it feels like you have this experience of dining out in a restaurant, but then it does feel very familiar.
It
very
feels like the only place I've seen something similar being Carmel in Northern California.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever been there, but there is some of these you go into this little building, and then there is a courtyard in the back with the palm trees, and you know, so that's what it feels like.
The lighting, really cool sconce, different things. I love it. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and for anyone who's listening, remember to be subscribed. We are growing this channel pretty fast, and it's exciting what we're doing here. So be a part of that, and if you're in the area, definitely check out Roberto's restaurants here with Vigiluccis, and thank you for joining us today.
Ciao.